to
with the bell.
College Football Trash Talk. What a week we had last week. I'm here with my main man, Greg Vaughn. What's up, Greg?
What's up, James Hyde?
Yeah, baby. What a week.
Yeah, big week for you, man. A little down for me, but that's all right. I mean, I'm happy you got back on the other side.
Plenty to talk about. What a great week. So, hey, man, what we want to do on this one is we're at mid-season. And I think that we should go over something because I remember the week before when you guys were ranked number one for the first time since 2008. And you started like, oh, man, we're number one. I said, okay, let's see what happens. Let me ask you a question. Do you still feel that Texas and Oklahoma belong in the SEC? Go ahead.
Yes, they are in the SEC because that's where they belong with the big boys, the big horses. So you stay up in the Big Ten and you rule the roost and be the only guy. We're playing every week is the SEC. It's like all teams, LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Bama, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Tennessee. Every team is a dominant figure in football right now. So when you have the horses that we do down in the SEC, then you come back to me.
Okay, so basically you want me to play the violin for you right now. Let me just do this for you right here. Oh, wait, I got a little one for you. Violin for you. Bro, listen, you guys knew what you signed up for. Okay, so I don't want to hear this is what. No, you knew going in what this was going to be like. It was going to be one of those every week.
I've always been a fan of Georgia. We had to head, and you know what? They won out. They won on all elements across the board. They had the pressure. They showed up in a big game. They heard enough smack talk from all the writers, the association, the AP, the fans, obviously, and they showed up. And that's what good teams do. They show up for big games. And Texas, they did not look good. Quinn got rattled. Arch got rattled.
Okay. Great. I have a question for you.
I'd rather it happen now. We're going to recoup and then start back and go again.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think at this point that, because I sent you that article and you sent me something back right away, they were saying speculation that he's going to sit out and go pro.
Yeah.
And then you sent me something back. No. Do you think that we have a QB controversy in Texas right now?
No, there's no QB controversy. It was all false news. Quinn's not doing anything. They're going to make adjustments. They need for a good offensive line, they got all the talent, the skill set. But you know what? Georgia won. They put on, from their, 3-2 base, they schemed up. They did a lot of blitz schemes, which look great. If you watch it, they get 3-4 on the line and then they have their backers deep and then they came up and they stunted and looked great from all edges. They did a lot of twists. I didn't expect anything less. The game showed up. Unfortunately, they won as they are the dog, and I think they're back. They found their mojo and it's good because they have set the bar, you got it. They're the defending national champ, in my eyes. So, Michigan took it, if you recall last year. And then now it's, they're climbing the mountain. We're just setting the tone. First year in the SEC. It's good. Week to week, every week is a matchup. So it's not running.
The only thing that I saw that was a bit suspect for Texas was offensive line.
Yeah. They didn't play to their account.
They were really putting pressure. If you think about Ewers when he was going back, I think he had like 1, 2, and basically had to unleash, just get rid of the ball. And I think that like Michigan was not able to put pressure like that against him. And if he's able to sit back, he's going to pick you apart. I don't care what kind of nickel dime packages you have, man, is going to slice you up. The only thing that's going to happen to them moving forward, Texas, I'm talking about Texas, is the offensive line. Are they able to give protection to him? He's already banged up. So if that moving forward does not, then I think that's the only issue that I see with Texas.
I think you're overreacting. I'm not going to buy it. The fact of the matter is Georgia has got a stout top defense. They've always been that way, and they still are that way coming into the season. And the thing about it is their blitz scheme was awesome. I love the packages. I love how they were just, a lot of adjustments. They rattled.
It wasn't even the blitz packages. To me, there was like a 4 rush, and they were getting in with 4. So
the fact of the matter is Georgia came out on top. It's all good. Happy for Georgia. Texas, they got to learn. You know what? Everything that goes up must come down. So, it's like, unfortunately, they weren't on the other side this week, but that's okay. I'd rather, it hit them now. They won their Super Bowl against Oklahoma. I think they came in a little bit a little underprepared.
I hope that's not your Super Bowl, bro. Oklahoma is not Super Bowl.
Plus, it's a big rivalry. So, the thing is, coming against Georgia, when they come into your house and they kick the crap out of Texas, they did. No ifs, ands, or buts. I was on a college visit with my kid. I was up at the Arkansas LSU game. I was trying to watch 2 games at the same time. So
you were watching my text come in too, but you act like you didn't see Kippy and I giving you all kinds of crap.
Crazy. I was sitting in the skybox, man, watching good games. I was watching LSU just beat the dog out of Arkansas, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's go over the top. Let's go over the top 10 real quick. So Oregon goes in at number 1. They're undefeated. Their big victory was beating number 2 Ohio State. They moved into number 1. Georgia now moved up to number 2, rightly so. If Oregon would have had one loss, Georgia would have jumped up to number 1. Listen, here's where I'm really kind of perplexed a little bit. Penn State is ranked 3.
A joke. I don't agree with this ranking whatsoever. just to jump on you, and I don't mean to intrude, but I think it's so overrated. Tennessee should be higher. I think natural, Texas being right there at 5. I'm content with that. LSU.
Whoa. So Texas, Penn State's going in because they're undefeated, so they're up there. Ohio State is 4. Who's in the rearview mirror now, boy? Ohio State is number 4, and then we got you behind us, bro.
This is why a lot of people don't like to talk to Ohio State Buckeye fans.
Greg, you remember this jersey? Greg, you remember this?
I know that jersey. You know why? He made me wear that down 6th Street when Ohio State came.
Why did you have to wear it?
Yeah, we made a bet, but I did it. I honor my bets.
No, and you wore it inside out like a little, you know what?
You know what? I did not until we got
No, you said, I'm going to wear the jersey, and then you put it inside out and do. Who does that?
It needed to be worn. It was worn. The fact of the matter is, I don't agree that Penn State is ranked. They're overrated. They're going to lose out and fall quickly.
Here's my question to you: is Miami is 7-0, right?
Yeah.
And they have Penn State at 6-0 and Miami at 6. I believe Miami should be up at 3, and I think Penn State should be at 7, and Tennessee. So Tennessee, LSU, Clemson. Now, here's the thing that we talked about. Clemson got just shellacked the first game. And I said, trust me, they're going to win the ACC, right? I'm sticking with them. They're 6-1. They're starting to come around. My boys from Iowa State are undefeated, 7-0. So the top 10 is great. And then BYU's looking at, they're 7-0. They're ranked 11.
Look at Indiana, 7-0, but they did lose their quarterback with a thumb injury. So, that's questionable. I think Indiana's better than Notre Dame. They could be very competitive against Iowa State. LSU, they look amazing. They are going to win their quarterback, Nussmeier, their receivers, Lacey. They just look so good. Their defense with Weeks and their back, they look legit. And I've never seen LSU in person. So that was my.
Let's just talk a little bit about the rest of them, just teams that kind of stick out. Here's a team that, I think that if you've been dormant for years, it's hard to kind of take you serious. Is this like a one-off or whatever? But Indiana put up some points last week, and they look good.
Nebraska came into Indiana, and Indy top to bottom. They are a good team. I mean, do not be shocked if Indiana have they played Penn State yet? I mean, I don't know what their schedule. Let's see what they got. I mean,
one of the things is Ohio State. They play Ohio State November 3rd at Ohio State, which is going to be monstrous, especially if Indiana can win out. I don't think that they have a let me see here. I don't think what their schedule. Let me see what they got. I think that the remaining is
they got Michigan State,
Washington. We'll talk about that coming up.
Yeah, they got Washington. That's going to be a competitive game. Then you got Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. I mean, look, maybe 2 out of the last 5 games are going to be a very potential game changing for their season. But I think they're in the Big Ten competition in the bracket down to the end. It's just about Rourke. If they're going to get their main starting quarterback, because he is such a dominant leader and dual threats. He's a game changer. So I think some rest, he may get it and, wrap it up and play against Washington. Who knows?
You and I said when Michigan went into Washington, you and I were saying that if the defensive coordinators are able to see Michigan and what they're doing, they're going to create a defensive package that's going to be able to stop the bully ball, meaning they're going to have to throw it. And this is the third quarterback Michigan has had, and you know what? Still not able to throw the ball. So with that said, I think that Michigan they're playing Michigan State. Michigan State could have a big moment this week and upset. So here's what we're going to do. We went 2-2 last week. You finally kind of got some picks and you're 2-2. Hold on, let's go to the scoreboard. Let's go to the scoreboard.
Hey, you know what? Let's do that so you feel better. So
we got Greg 2 wins, James 2 wins.
Yeah.
Now James 22, Greg 12. You know what that is, Greg? That's called the victory bell.
Yeah.
22 to 12. You get shellacked.
Yeah. I need to put a mute on that bell. I'm gonna get your dog, Wasabi, to steal that freaking bell.
So real quick, man, I don't know if I want
to spend too long talking about Ohio State. Let's get on to our past.
Real quick, man. Real quick. I just want to say, hold on. Unfortunately, my dog Wasabi passed away on Sunday night.
Bro, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and it's devastating for us, but
man,
he was a great dog, and unfortunately, he's passed away. And
I'm so sorry, bro. I mean,
since you brought him up, we got to say a little prayer. This show is dedicated to Wasabi, my beautiful dog.
Much love to you, brother. I'm so sorry for your loss, man, to the family.
All right, so let's get into week 8. Let's go down the picks. I mean, some of these will go kind of quickly because Oregon smashed Purdue 35-0. I don't think any of us, you and I both, were surprised by that. I mean, yeah. So then we go to Oklahoma State and BYU.
Yeah, good game.
This one was a good game. I watched, and I honestly, BYU was getting beat, and all of a sudden, I think they had a turnover, and it turned the tide, and they came back and won 38-35.
Yeah,
and it was a great game. And BYU showed me something. They showed me that they showed me grit. They showed me that when they're down, they can come back. They're playing at home. I think that was a big win for BYU.
Yeah, good for them. I mean, hey, they got heart. You never quit on BYU.
So you and I both chose Oregon. You and I both chose BYU. We'll move on to Auburn and Missouri. Now, this one was another one that was, I got to be honest with you, I was going back and forth in the games, and Missouri just, they looked flat. They didn't look like they were behind as well. And then, I think it was fourth quarter, whatever, they turned it on. They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. And that was kind of like what propelled them to victory. But you and I both chose Missouri. I don't know if you had a chance to even take a look at any highlights or anything. But
no, I did not. Between my driving, my kid around, and college visits. So no, I didn't. I just got the updates as we got home. Missouri, they were kind of sleepy. I agree with you on that. And surprising, they allowed a team to come in and be as competitive as they were, because I thought Mizzou was going to just go in and just roll out. But they got a big game this coming week.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But, you and I both have been talking about programs that, have been in flux, whether it be because of coaching, haven't had the great quarterback.
They won't be this coming week, that's for sure.
Yeah, so Auburn, I think you and I both said that's that program that somebody needs to go in and grab a hold, believe in the coach. Auburn, look, we all know Auburn's going to get recruits. It's Auburn.
They're getting them right now, and they're on the rebuild. You know what? Hey, every program's gone through that, and so it's kind of like, it's good to see they're being competitive, even though, it's a little bit against the Mizzou. They got all the talent on paper, but you know what? It's like Oklahoma State playing BYU. It's like Oklahoma State's got players. They can throw up some points, but Auburn made a very defensive, competitive game and shut that very high-speed Missouri offense down.
Yep. So what we'll do is, of course, we both chose Missouri on that one. Yep. The next game, that was an amazing game. I watched back and forth of this one, but I watched it a lot, was Miami and Louisville.
Yeah.
Talk about scoring. Talk about just open. Right when you think that Miami was going to open it up, Louisville came back and they returned a touchdown, kickoff for a touchdown. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Then it's like, they're tied up again. And then Miami went down, and I'm telling you, Cam Ward is probably right now looking for me as one of the top Heisman candidates. And I know that Colorado's got Hunter, right? So those two are standing out to me. We'll talk more about that, maybe next week.
Sure.
But we both chose Miami for that one. But let me tell you something. It was an amazing game, and a lot of points being scored. Just a real back and forth game. That's the only thing that kind of worries me about Miami, and maybe that's why they were ranked 6th. Is because defensively, they're giving up a lot of points. Cal, they gave up 30.
Yeah.
And just now, they with Louisville, they gave up 45.
45. And Virginia Tech, 34.
Yeah.
Come on. They're in the ACC battle right there, and that battle is just about to begin. Florida State, God, that is. Yeah.
So that's the only thing that kind of, look, Cam's going to be Cam. He's going to score points. But at the end of the day, we were talking about USC. USC of old would have to win 52 like this, 52 to 48, whatever. They'd have to outscore people.
Right. You know what? I don't even know what their schedule rankings are, but I don't look. I was just looking at Miami's schedule. It's not hard because the ACC does not have, outside of Clemson, there's not a lot competitive edge. VTech, you can never count them out, but the ACC is kind of weak this year.
Well,
except for anybody on the ACC. For the competitiveness, there's like one or two teams that stand out above that, like SEC, the Big Ten. They're all game breakers. Anything can happen.
Yeah. So, with that said, I think that you will go back. I think you chose Miami or FSU.
Yeah. You and I both picked Miami in that one.
Yeah. No, you chose somebody else. I chose Clemson. Chose Miami. That's right. I chose Clemson to win the ACC. You chose Miami. It's going to be great. That's going to go down to the wire.
Yeah.
So this is a team that you and I both, I think that we're just so happy. Every year there's these teams, whether you want to call them Cinderella teams or whatever. Army has been around playing football for a long time. They were undefeated. They went in. East Carolina played them. It looked like a blowout. I don't know if they put in their subs or whatever, but it was like 31-0 or something. Then I looked up and it was 45-28. So, but they won and they're ranked 23 and they're undefeated. So, hats off to them. We'll talk about Navy. They got a big game coming up next week with Notre Dame. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Well, look at they're both great programs, and I mean, their big matchup is going to be head to head, obviously. But they're both contenders, which is a big testament to their program. And I'm super excited to see that for the men and women that serve this country. But I mean, it's just like their programs. I mean, they have come a long way. And that Army, I ain't betting against them. No offense to the Navy, but that Army, that quarterback, I mean, he's a real deal, and it's going to be fun. I even heard that like Army could forfeit the next game before they have the head-to-head matchup and still, go to the bowl.
Yeah. One thing we talked about last week was not only Army is it like usually they're a handoff, which I don't know what kind of formation they're doing.
Yeah,
but, fake the fullback, off the thing, and maybe fake the fullback, and then the quarterback run. But he's able to throw it too. So they're now more of a dual threat, which is great. Moving into when they are moving, if they do make the playoffs or whatever, I have an update of predictions on who they think is going to be in the playoffs at the moment. But anyway, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of football to be played, but moving on, we both chose Army, by the way. Virginia and Clemson. I mean, Virginia is, God bless them that they can play basketball, but football, they haven't been able to do anything on the football field for a while. Again, I mean, Virginia is Virginia. I mean, the facilities must be there. I mean, Virginia basketball has always been, top. I know baseball, they're really good and whatever. They just haven't been able to put anything together for a while. And Clemson won 4. Clemson right now, I think they're really finding their way. Again, I picked them to win the ACC. So it's going to be a great game. Miami, Clemson looks like it's going to be a clash. It's going to be I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And look at Georgia Tech and Notre Dame. And who picked that?
Yeah, well, we're going to get to that. Hold on one second.
Why? We're still in the ACC. Discuss what needs to be discussed. Somebody took a loss. You took the L on that one.
Let me see.
I picked Georgia Tech.
Yes, you did. And we'll get to that.
That. I just have my moment to shine here.
Well, hold on. Wait a second. Georgia Tech played Notre Dame, and you lost.
I did.
I chose Notre Dame. You chose Georgia Tech.
Checking my notes again. Sorry. I was betting on those Yellow Jackets.
So let's move on. The went into Indiana and got shellacked. When I'm telling you, because we all thought it was going to be a good game. I was almost tempted to go Nebraska. We both chose Indiana just because of the firepower that they had. But I didn't think Nebraska was going to get shut out like that. It was. I mean, they ran 4 touchdowns. It was just they bulldozed them.
Man, I did not see that game, but God, I couldn't believe the score when it popped up on the screen at the stadium. I was like, what?
Yeah, wow. I was going back and it was.
You were scouting. You were checking out to see what kind of team they really were.
Yeah, and they look amazing. They look
really
polished on offense. I mean, running the ball, throwing the ball. It's a complete package.
That is crazy. And the stats in the game, they look more in favor, obviously, because what happened to Rattoli?
He didn't have any time to throw. There was one time when he's going on his back foot and he threw and he kind of twisted his ankle.
Okay. That Rourke kid, he missed the entire second half.
Yeah. And
he still had numbers.
Yeah. They didn't need him.
Man, 3 INTs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just not good. Look, he's a freshman, so you're going to expect to have those games. But
so the defense, obviously, they set the tone in the first half. Second quarter, they took over, and in the back half, they just owned it and ran the ball, obviously, and still scored.
Yep. I think there was 4 touchdowns they scored running the ball.
Look at the yardage in this game. This is 800 yards of total offense, 400 5 of Indiana.
It was up and down, up and down. Up the next thing,
Nebraska. That's the shame right there.
I would turn the channel and I'd come back, and they scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Turn the channel, come back, scored another touchdown.
They just yeah.
So we got to move on real quick. Charlotte Navy won 51-17. They're ranked 24th. They're undefeated. So that's a great story as well. Let's jump into this one. Alabama and Tennessee. Now, I was watching this game, and Alabama was up 14, I think. And then the next thing I know, Milroe threw an interception. He threw two interceptions. And it kind of on the one drive there at the end, too, right in the middle, he threw another interception. Tennessee did not think, because I was going back and forth watching all the games. I did not think that Tennessee, that they were going to win. And then all of a sudden, a turnover happened, and then it just shifted. And they came out on top. This is the first time Alabama's had 2 losses before November in a long time. So
yeah, I can't even recall. I mean, then they dropped. I mean, they were once at 7, and now they're at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big slide. I mean, they dropped 8 spots right there, which is, I mean, that is nothing. And I think that's why everybody from Bama needed Texas to beat Georgia, obviously, to keep them in contention. Then I put just conspiracy theory. And tell me what you think, James, because do you think Texas gave up intentionally to put Bama on the slide to make sure they were out of play?
Oh, my God. I don't think so.
I mean, could you imagine if they just checked out in fourth quarter and just said, hey, we're not going to battle. We need to get Bama out of the equation because we're so threatened by them. Because if they would have won, I mean, the SEC, it's all 1-loss teams. Now Bama got the 2-loss. Yeah. Can they still get into the bracket is the question.
Well, that's a question I was going to ask you. So we have right now, we have a lot of 1-loss SEC teams. Now it's like, because this is when I love, this is the part of the season I love. It's mid-season, and everybody, like we said before at the very beginning, whoever stays healthy is going to have, of course, the advantage. That's just the way it is in sports. There's going to be injuries. Who's going to be able to last through the SEC trenches, right? Who's going to go through the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC and get through it? Because, every week, you play on Saturday, and then you have, if you play on Friday, you've got a sense like a short week or whatever. These injuries are going to start, and whoever can stay healthy. And again, I'll go back real quick. This is why I give Texas the advantage over a lot of other teams, is just because who they have coming in at quarterback. There's nobody that I can think of that has a quarterback, a 5-star quarterback that would come in and be able to do as good or better than yours. So that's the only reason why I say that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So here's a great game. I watched it. I was back and forth. One thing I got to tell you is I tip my hat to Illinois. I don't know if you saw their helmets. Those helmets and that uniform that they had.
Alike. I mean, this is the segue I wanted to go into Illinois and just focus on them, man. And I'm going to let you go. Go for it. Speak your mind.
Here's the thing. There's programs, and storied programs that have been good. They've always been around, of course, And this is some of the moments that I love about the university is them going back, paying homage to traditionally of college football. The uniforms, the helmets were almost
leather helmets,
like they were like leather helmets, and then the uniforms themselves. And you know what? They played amazing. They beat Michigan 21-7.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm like, wow, good for them. Good for them in college football.
Team of the week in my eyes. I mean, just that throwback uniform was so stellar. I mean, I think there was like a Florida FIU had their throwback or their new branding, their uniforms, and then they got beat by Sam Houston State, who's bowl eligible now. But, it just kind of like, I am so impressed with their uniform. Their play is awesome. They're, between them and Indiana, I like Indiana a little bit more because of the quarterback. But Illinois, I just think it's awesome the way they did the pay homage. But I just, I want to state that Notre Dame, going back a minute, they have.
We're going there now anyway, so go ahead. We're going
Navy. They got Navy, FSU, obviously state. Then they got Virginia. They're going to handle that one. Then Army. Then SC. They have the potential to be knocked out, which they will. I don't see that. I see them following out. I don't see them staying in the bracket much longer. I don't think they're going to make it in the 12 anyway. They're just so overrated in my mind. I mean, congrats to their schedule, their quarterback, coming in. But man, teams like Illinois, Navy, Army, SMU, I root for these guys. I mean, Boise State, them. I mean, this is like, these are all on that fringe trying to make it into that bubble, which makes it exciting. And it's hard for me to watch teams that I think are so overrated for the wrong reasons.
Well,
that stand in there.
Great segue, because that was our next team. Notre Dame beat Georgia Tech 31-13. We both chose – no, you chose Georgia Tech. I chose Notre Dame.
Because that's how much I believe in Notre Dame. And
let's go back real quick. Alabama, Tennessee. You chose Tennessee. You won that. I was with Alabama. So we're 1-1 at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, with Texas A&M, Mississippi State, they smashed 34-24. We both chose A&M. Here's the other one. You won this one. This was LSU, Arkansas. You chose LSU. I chose Arkansas.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Even though Arkansas, I'm liking them a lot right now.
And then Georgia and Texas. Of course, I chose Georgia. You chose Texas.
Obvious.
And so that put us up. That put us up at 2-2. Alabama, Tennessee. You chose Tennessee. I chose Alabama. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. You chose Georgia Tech. I chose Notre Dame. LSU, Arkansas. You chose LSU. I chose Arkansas. Georgia and Texas. I chose Georgia. You chose. And that kind of wraps it up. Kansas State, West Virginia. Both of us are on the Kansas State bandwagon. They went in 45-18. Playing at West Virginia, which is not an easy place to play.
Morgantown, baby.
The last one we'll go over for that week is your boys from SMU and smoked Stanford. So we both chose SMU, but 40-10. I think your boys are for real.
True freshman Kevin Jennings, 322 yards. I mean, this guy, he's just huge day. I mean, God, he had a 192 rating for the day. He ran one for 87 yards, or threw one for 87 yards. I saw. He had good 63% completion percentage. I'd say that's a good day.
Yeah, I mean, you've been high on those guys. Like you were high on SMU, Arizona, of course. They got slaughtered last week. But the one team that I was high on, I think you're with me now, is Iowa State. You were very high on Arizona and SMU. And so, man, your boys are balling out. I love it.
I'm glad to see it.
So now that we have gone, look, week 8, every week there's going to be what's considered, you and I gave it the name Separation Saturday. I believe that this week we're going to go over the schedule. There are so many pivotal games.
Yeah, I got to win. That's what we're saying. That's what you're trying to tell me, James. It's a must-win week for me.
It's big for a lot of teams. Let's get into it.
Let's go. Okay. Let's go. Here we come.
Okay, so this is week 9, college football trash talk. Whoa, we're moving it in. Come on.
James,
right, listen.
Hey, all those out there watching, hey, don't forget to subscribe to us on the YouTube channel at College Football Trash Talk. And also check out us on IG at FCFB_TT. We appreciate all you, and we want to thank you for any comments that have been made and those that are following. We want to get to you, talk to you, and hear your thoughts. So as the season continues on, we get closer to the brackets.
And you guys, if you want to play along with us when we do our picks, you can do your picks against ours, and you can share those, and we'll do some shout outs and see where everybody is and see if people.
We can maybe pick the fan of the week and call you out.
Yes. So let's jump into it. So we got Syracuse. This is a good game. Traveling to Pittsburgh, 4:30 game. Who do you got?
Wow, traveling to Pittsburgh.
Yep. We talked about Pittsburgh. It's not an easy place to play. But Syracuse is, it's not like they're coming in from California or anything. I mean,
no, it's a puddle jumper. It's right up the north there, the top of the big, beautiful state of New York, coming down from Brick City. So this is going to be a great game. Obviously, it's going to be very probably similar to the Oklahoma State BYU game. I think this is a great matchup. I like Sixburg because I got good family friends there, and I'm a little scared of Syracuse because McCord. They got two great quarterbacks going head to head. The home field advantage. I'm going to go with the bricks. I'm going to go with the Orangemen. I'm going to take Syracuse on a line. I'm going to flip it up a little bit because I do like that coach. I like what they're doing. I think McCord. It all depends on what you're doing. I could have a change of heart because you're going to set the tone for me. But my heart's telling me Syracuse.
Okay.
My gut is telling me Syracuse, but my heart is going to Pittsburgh, so I'm torn.
Great pick. I love what you're saying. I'm going to go smack, boom, get out of here. Pittsburgh at home. I'll tell you,
You're taking home game.
What's that?
You taking Pittsburgh?
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Okay, good deal. Matchup done.
Because the reason being is because I think that Pittsburgh's running game. Now, Syracuse, they went overtime. The running game really kind of showed up. So it's going to be the battle of the trenches. I think that Pittsburgh's a little bit more edgy, grittier than they are at home. I'm going to pick the Panthers, Pittsburgh Panthers, right? The Panthers.
I'm sorry for everybody in Pittsburgh that I love you, man.
We got Boise State traveling to UNLV. It is a night game at 7:30. Who do you got?
I got to go with our incredible running back, with Boise State. I just think, they're traveling. They just went to Hawaii, which is and Genty. I mean, he is top 2 contender for Heisman. I love his run game and what he's done. I thought they would really beat Hawaii, a lot more than what they did, but they did travel. UNLV, they are strong. They are showing up. I love their hype, their energy. I'm going to have to stick with the Smurfs. I like the Blue Men.
Great pick.
And we got a hometown running back, so I got to go for him.
I'm going to echo what you just said. I just think that Boise State I've watched them play this year. They're strong. They're a good football team. And you know what? UNLV is there. They're not quite all the way there. I just think that when you have a balanced attack, meaning when you can throw it a little bit, but then you got that running back when you get the lead and you can just go on his shoulders. I'm going to go with Boise State as well. I just think they're overall a better football team. I don't want to take anything away from UNLV because I think they're having a great season, but Boise State's just too strong. This is the one right here, baby.
I know it.
Notre Dame traveling to Navy, the Naval Academy, 9 a.m. game. Who do you got?
I'm going Navy. I'm going against Notre Dame because, like I said in our segment here, I just don't think that Notre Dame, and it's going to come down to Army Navy. Notre Dame's got 3 tough games. And I just think with the momentum, Navy has had this on their mind, looking ahead, being prepared. There's nothing greater in the college football program when you got Notre Dame on your schedule because they are legendary. I love Notre Dame. I think it's probably one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen in my life. Love Lou Holtz. He was the coaches before Nick Saban came. So I'm going Navy because I think it's their time. They are shining. I'm going to ride with them.
Okay. I think that's a great pick. But you know what? Smack! Get out of here.
Whoa!
Unfortunately, Notre Dame, and I'll tell you why, when you play a program like Notre Dame that has depth at probably every position 3 deep, I think that the depth rotates and it's kickoff return, punt return, field goal. I'm throwing all of those assets in there because I just think that overall, and it could be a close game, but I think Notre Dame is just a little bit too deep. And I think that there's too many skilled players that Navy's going to have a hard time covering. Okay, we got Oklahoma should just retire.
Here we go. We're talking about your team.
And they're playing Old Miss at Old Miss. It's a 9 a.m. game. Who do you got?
Okay. Well, the Chatterbox Kipper, I know he's going to be online and watching this and chat and seeing how we are talking about his team. And I can't wait to disappoint him. The thing about OU is they have given the confirmation of Jackson Arnold. He is coming back as their starter. They bench him, they replace him. Now they have benched the true freshman Jenkins, and he's another hometown local kid. And they're going with another hometown local kid, Jackson Arnold. They're going back to the driver's seat. And I think it's good. It's going to give the team momentum, a lot of push. But I think Ole Miss, coming off of that disappointing loss, Jackson Dart is going to throttle them at home at Vaught Stadium in Oxford. Not a chance. It will be competitive. Do not count OU out, but I think Ole Miss is going to just little beat stick and just deflate their little Boomer Sooner wagon.
Look,
so I'm going Ole Miss.
Unfortunately, again, this is a subject we bring up because it's a very crucial thing in college football and basketball and all sports. The injury bug, unfortunately, has just throttled Oklahoma. I mean, decimated all the receivers are out or whatever. And it's unfortunate. But You know what? Tough shit. That's just the way it is. Everybody's got to play the same way. And it's just timing. It's unfortunate. Look, Oklahoma's a story program, and unfortunately, Ole Miss is going to win. I think it may be close at the beginning, but as the game progresses, I think Ole Miss is gonna.
I think it's just too much for that defense. And you made great points about the depth of that receiver core. They've lost top 5 guys, and they're this is man up, next man up kind of thing. But Ole Miss needs this win. It's a must win for them. So I don't think they're gonna deflate.
So I got another great one here, man. Oh God, this is why we love college football, man. It's just like, listen, I got Washington, who, well, we know now Michigan's not as good as whatever, but still Michigan's Michigan. I mean, they're ex-national champions, right? They're still national champions until somebody wins. And, new coach, whatever, we said Harbaugh's leaving we know why, because they're going to be on NCAA infractions are going to happen down the road, whatever. Still, they're having okay, so we got Washington traveling to Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana's ranked 13. They're undefeated. 9 a.m. game. Who do you got?
Man, this is going to be a battle. I think because of my appreciation for Indiana, but I did take Washington over Michigan earlier this year because I believe that they're going to do that. I think this is a must win for Washington. It really is. And now with Indiana's quarterback, Rourke, his thumb injury, a little suspect. But you know what? I think they're going to tape him up. They're going to get him back on the field. They want to play. They've been waiting. They like this schedule. They like playing the big teams. They like being the center of attention. It's a nationally televised. No, it's the Big Ten Network. So, I mean, that's somewhat local broadcast, but it's still important. So with that being said, I'm still going to ride Indiana at home.
Okay. Love that pick for a lot of reasons, but get out of here. I'll give you a reason. Quarterback's not going to be healthy. He's not going to be able to throw the deep ball. Washington's defense showed up against Michigan and played. They were not able to play bully ball. Now, Indiana's going to have to shift the offense a little bit and try to run the ball, not as much as passing. I'm going to go for the upset. I think Washington is going to go into Indiana, and they are going to win. That's who I'm going with.
All right.
Yeah. So, and then we got Nebraska traveling to the Ohio State University. Who do you got?
Wow. I love how you always push it on me. This is a huge game. This because the Big Ten in Nebraska. But you know what? Going back to this week in Nebraska, just getting manhandled. I mean, to get throttled that way, and now you got to go. You got to come into Columbus and play Howard, and you got to play that running game. You got who's your big receiver, number 4, the freshman?
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. So I just think too much firepower. I do think Nebraska is going to get mentally coming in, and I think it's going to be first half. I think it's going to be a very close game. I definitely think, and I think there's going to be adjustments made, and then Ohio State's going to just manhandle.
Okay. Here's my thing about this is I think that Ohio State is very angry and pissed off. They know what's at stake now. There's no more fucking around. There's moving forward. There's no more.
How do you feel, Hyde?
The money that they've spent. Look, Ryan Day at the beginning of the season was in a lose-lose situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you bring in all those players and you spend all that money, and if you don't win, you're in a lose-lose. Okay. So they came in, they were all in on the table. Chips are in. We're going all in, right? So if anything less than a championship, it's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So with that said, against Oregon, they lost by 1 point. You know, the play calling at the end, whatever, they easily could have kicked the field goal and won the game. Whatever.
Yeah.
And what I told you, Greg,
you're taking the Bucs, right?
What I told you was when you lose, and I think Texas in the same thing now, is when you lose, you're like, okay, when I used to tell my boys, I have 7-on-7 football when I coached, we won 3 years in a row undefeated. We lost in the quarterfinals and the kids crying, whatever. I go, listen, we're going to learn more from this loss in life than you ever would if we would have won. I know it's kind of hard to hear that right now, but it's true. You have to go, we're not as good as we think we are. We're not.
Yeah.
And we have to readjust. We have to get better. And so those losses, when it happened, like early or mid, can happen. Now, when you start losing towards the end of the year, those scenarios of you making a playoff are going to start getting slimmer and slimmer. So with that said, I think Ohio State's going to start off very fast, and I think it's going to be an ass whipping at least by 30 points. So check this out. We got another barn burner. We got Illinois traveling to Oregon, and it's a 12th game. Who do you got?
Man, this is really hard because I think Oregon is so on a high. I think they really are. And I think Illinois has everything to gain. This is the do or die. They are on a stage that's bigger than life. For them to travel to Oregon and make a statement. And I love what they've done for football and their uniforms. And I really, really want to go for Illinois, the Fighting Illinois. But I'm going with Oregon because you know what? They're traveling to a stadium that's electric. That fan base is crazy. Oregon is hyped. They have to prove themselves that they deserve to be number one. And Dylan Gabriel, what he did against Ohio State was impressive to me. His leadership, amazing. Evan Stewart, that receiving core is just stout. And the running game, I just think it's too much offense, and their defense is pretty good as well. I think this is going to separate boys from men and let Illinois, who's the big dog. So I'm going to Oregon.
Great pick, and I'm going to echo what you just said. Here's the key for me of the game. It's the starting quarterbacks. Gabriel can not only can he throw it, but he can run it when he wants to. And I believe that that's going to be the key. Oregon is a team that is not your grind them down. They're a big play football team. They got speed everywhere. With that said, I think that maybe Illinois can hold on at the very beginning of the game, maybe for a half, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just think that Oregon's just too much for them right now. I would love to see it stay close, and then because we always said this, and you know this as well as anybody else. Listen, guys, if we could just close until the fourth quarter, anything can happen. A turnover.
Mm-hmm.
A blocked punt, a fumble there's anything can happen as long as you keep it close.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think Oregon's going to rack up some points. Now, I would love for it to be different, but I'm just talking realist about football.
I think it would help us both, obviously in the rankings. I mean, you got to win on all sides of the ball. That's offense, special teams, defense. I mean, turnovers. I mean, you got to be the best of your best. There is no excuses.
Right.
Heart out This is going to be a true testament to who these Fighting Illinois guys are. So I think we both gone. But hey, let me lead this one.
Go ahead.
I want you to give me your input on the Bama-Mizzou game.
Okay, yes, I was gonna hit that. So we got Missouri going to play at Alabama. Now this game is at 12:30. We got Missouri 21, who just came off of a close victory of Auburn, and we got Alabama, who just came off of a loss to Tennessee.
Correct.
Do you want me to go first on this one?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to switch it up.
Okay, so here's the thing that I'm going to tell you, and this is just me looking at what happened last week. Missouri started off slow, sluggish, picked it up in the end. They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. Alabama played tough. They were ahead. All of a sudden, a couple turnovers changed the landscape of the game. They're playing at Alabama. This is it. Alabama, this is it. I'm going Alabama because I believe that they know that this is it. And if they lose, this is going to be the first time they haven't been to playoffs in I can't even tell you how long. I mean, Nick Saban is probably crying right now going, how could I turn this program over to this coach? And we're at this stage of the game. So with that said, I'm going Alabama. And I think that Missouri didn't look in sync last week. Auburn's not a very good football team. So with that said, I'm going Roll Tide.
Yeah, that was the look ahead week, for the Mizzou when they played Auburn. I think they were looking ahead to the Bama game, and they almost got, beat because of that. I think they're looking too far down the road instead of being right in front of them, being present. Like you said, to barely win against Auburn even though Auburn respectively is on the rebuild and they got some good talent there, they're just not to the level that we expected Missouri to go down there and really dominate that whole game. And it is a must win for Bama they lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Tennessee. This is a must win or they are depleted and they got nothing left because then they got LSU right after that. And LSU is a severe threat. This is a must win game because I'm so far down in the losing bracket in our battle. I got to go Bama at home. I just am not going to bet against them right now because this is a must win game. And I just think Bama is going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, I mean, when you look at, 3 or 4 games of Missouri and you're watching them play, there's just seems to me that there's sometimes you get they look fluid. They look like they can run, they can pass, whatever. And just some games, they just look like they're just sputtering. And it's not, you're not going to be able to do that against Alabama. There's no way. I mean,
Bama, if you go back, their last win against Georgia, since then, Vanderbilt lost. South Carolina barely won on the luck. They should have lost that game from my perspective. Then they go to Tennessee. They could have won, and then they lost. Yeah, they need to get their heads out of their ass and get going and move it in the right direction because this is it.
I got one for you right now, boy. Woo-hoo! We got Texas Longhorns going into Vanderbilt.
Segue.
Who do you got?
Okay.
I know who you got, but
you go ahead. You go ahead. Please lead on. We need to get your thoughts.
So here's the thing that I'm thinking. This is just me putting it out there.
Can't wait.
I think that unfortunately for Texas, this is going to be something that's they're going to lose on the road. I'm going Vanderbilt for the upset, and it's
wow. You are pulling that card.
It's going to be a field goal that's going to determine the game, and it's going to be a last-second field goal. Vanderbilt at home is going to pull the upset.
It doesn't surprise me because when I go with Ohio State against Oregon, I lose. And then Georgia, you take Georgia, obviously, to have a banter and a difference of opinion. But you know what? As much as I've appreciated everything that Vanderbilt has done, beating Bama, walking that field goal post all the way down thousands of feet.
Well, they're going to do it again. So they better have one that's kind of like we can just rotate it in and out because
they're always bound to find a nut once. This ain't going to happen twice, okay?
Of course, baby.
Texas is going to come in and going to put a beat down. This is going to be game on. Quinn is going to light it up. If they do not destroy them, I think they're going to be better. I think there's going to be a lot of trickery. I think they're going to have a lot of scheme. I think Vanderbilt is a better coached up team. They definitely are playing like they deserve to be in the SEC, seeing that it's taken over the last 60 years for them to do this. But the fact of the matter is Texas is going to get in there and just put a big Bevo stomp ass one on Vanderbilt Commodores and just kind of make them feel real again. You know, get them back down to ground zero because they have been in a cloud after beating Bama, after competing the way they have. I mean, they are ranked 25. They are 5-2. 5-2, but they just played Ball State and won 24-14. And don't take anything away from Ball State because they got an air raid. They beat Kentucky, who was a big upset, Georgia. Or no, they almost beat Georgia. Yeah, Kentucky did 13 points. It's been on the high, and now it's like kind of coming back down to their normal sense of play. And you got a program like this, and all due respect across both teams. But Texas, they're going to put that offensive line in check. They're going to show them. They're going to maul them around. They're going to run it down their throats. And I just think that it's going to be a lopsided game. I think Texas all the way. But I'm glad that you went with Vanderbilt to make it give me a chance to catch up with you. Because I've got 4 different picks. That could be a 4-0 record right there.
So let's
4-0. But there is another game I'd like to throw in there just for shits and giggles. And it's completely off the grid. Okay?
Love it.
Here, give me your thoughts.
Okay.
Maryland versus Minnesota. At Minnesota.
At Minnesota. And it's an early game, I would think.
2:30 game, that's Eastern time.
Okay. And then
your time.
Okay. So Maryland just came and won a game last week. Big game. And so with that said, they beat USC. So and they went crazy. They went
huge. Storm the field.
So Minnesota has been playing tough. They're playing at home. With that said, I really have not seen a lot of Maryland playing this year. I've seen Minnesota a couple times, just not like watching the whole game, but just like, trying to stay as much as I can with a lot of football just to get a feel of each team and whatever. So I always said this is the way I kind of adjust things. And I always said whoever – at this stage of the game, if it's kind of a coin toss, I will always choose the home team. I'm going Minnesota.
Well, you disappointed me, man. I thought you were going the other way, so I thought I was throwing you a curve. But you know what? Since that's going to be a scratch, because I'm feeling Minnesota too. It's a must-win in the Big Ten Conference for them. But Maryland could come in and just really shock after that big win.
Yeah.
They got a lot of momentum, but, Minnesota traveled to UCLA. It wasn't much competition. They beat SC, which was good. They both beat SC. Both teams. It wasn't much less than a touchdown each, so.
Speculation.
Minnesota's tough. They play hard.
Speculation, Lincoln Riley is on the
watch list,
on the get out of town list, and there's already.
Let's scratch that. Wrap it up because I got to go get a kid. He needs money for the book fair.
Hold on, we got a few more games real quick. We'll go over them real quick. Florida State, Miami. I know we're going to go Miami on that.
Yeah, not even worth.
Okay, so the only one I think is going to be interesting. There's two: LSU, Texas A&M at.
Yeah. Wow. You know, you know what? I really, this is tough because this is two great teams, and this is
at A&M.
And last time I went against A&M when they were at home was against Notre Dame, and lost that. But I think because I went with A&M, and you know, so after that and seeing LSU this past weekend and what that defense has done, hopefully Weeks is not injured too bad. They are traveling, but I know what LSU does, and they travel well. That LSU group is crazy. And I like LSU, and it's still a school we haven't visited yet. With all due respect to my papa, you know, I'm going LSU.
LSU, okay. I am going A&M at home. I'm going A&M. Quickly, Penn State traveling to Wisconsin. 4:30 game. Who you got?
Woo! I think Penn State and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, you know, I don't know too much about them. I mean, I've had a higher hope for Penn State this year, but I know it's a Big Ten battle. Man, they haven't, you know, I mean, they lost to SC, Bama. And I know where you're going. You're going to go Wisconsin. I'm going to go Penn State, Nittany Lions at Happy Valley.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because Wisconsin is, again, they throttled Purdue, they throttled Rutgers, and then they beat Northwestern 23-3 at Northwestern. So with that said, they've been up and down because, they lost to Alabama 42-10. Then they got beat by USC, who's shit, 38-21. But that was September 28th.
Yeah.
Going into this, it's never easy to play at Wisconsin.
Yes,
but
you've stated that.
With that said, I think Penn State is too strong. Wisconsin doesn't have enough firepower to beat. And Penn State's defense, let me tell you something.
I can never say not hello to my kids, so keep talking. Hey, son.
The last one that we got to do before we jump off is this one, which is SMU is going into Duke. So with that 5 o'clock game at Duke, SMU ranked 22 going into Duke. I know who you got.
Okay, then tell us who you got.
I got SMU.
Well, then why are we picking games that there's going to be the same?
Well,
there's nothing on the schedule except Kansas State.
Okay, look, in all intents and purposes, I was going to go over that, but Kansas is traveling to Kansas State.
They're in the same state, buddy.
There's one team across town, the other got to go to their house. How about that?
It's just in their backyard. How about Auburn, Kentucky?
I'm going Kansas State. I think there's not even going to be close.
Avery, I like the quarterback. Michigan State.
This is a big chance for Michigan State to win, but I'm going Michigan for that game.
Did you hear that? He said it. See, I trapped him, folks. You never thought James Hyde in his lifetime would vote for the blue, but he did, and I wanted you to have it on tape. So that's for you.
What you got?
Michigan.
Okay.
I got no skin in the game.
So listen, guys, thank you very much. College Football Trash Talk.
I can see my kid.
Greg, where can they get us? Where can they follow us?
Hey, be sure to check us out on YouTube at College Football Trash Talk with James Hyde and myself, Greg Vaughn. And also check us out on IG at the CFB_TT. See, it takes me even a minute as an actor to get that right. So, hey, thank you all for who've been here with us along for the ride. I mean, we just talked about some great football. This is episode 11, week 9. So we're very excited and grateful to be a part of your life as you are in ours. And to our great man, Anthony Hartman, for taking great care of us on all sides.
Thank you, Anthony.
We love our partner and crew. So, gotta go. Love you.
Great show, guys. Love you all.